Hey, what's good, everybody? It's Woodrow, and it is time for us to dive into the previews and DC Connect and Marvel Previews catalogs for the month of June 2023. As you can see, you're looking at a screenshot of the digital copy of Marvel Previews. I'm going to go a little old school this month and just walk you through these catalogs instead of doing snapshots of the certain pages that I wanted to highlight. And the reason for that is really just that I'm not particularly overly excited about a lot of new things coming out of Marvel this month, but there are enough things that I'm reading that I figured I could just more easily go through the catalog page by page and just mention the things that I'm checking out, and intersperse some commentaries to how excited I am for them or not. So let's get to it. As you can see, this is issue number 21. And we have the Immortal Thor #1 on the cover. It's time for another Thor reboot. It's a good creative team, Al Ewing and Martin Coccolo, so that's good news. I will certainly check out the first issue or two and see if it can hook me, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty Thored out. You know, we had some really fantastic Thor runs in the last decade, and this may just be a down cycle for the character or not. We'll see. If you all listen to the last episode of the flagship show, you know that we discussed the Marvel Venomverse and how prolific it is, and I gave a rather impassioned explanation for why it does absolutely nothing for me. So needless to say, when I see Marvel with just an absolute gobsmacking number of symbiote books solicited, it just doesn't really hook me in, but hopefully for some of you it's very exciting news, as it was with Vince. We've got some other previews, but we'll get to those when we get to the actual solicits. Okay, first actual solicit, Uncanny Avengers. As you know, I'm very excited about the Avengers taking off into new directions. Here we've got a 5-issue miniseries written by Jerry Duggan with art by Javier Garron. A big fan of Duggan as a writer. Garron's art is, I would say, good, not great for me, but certainly fine enough to not be a turnoff for me for the book. I will mention, though, that this, you'll notice the indicia, it says Fall of X, so this is part of this Fall of X event, which we'll get to in a bit, and as a result of that, we'll see what this is. For those that don't remember, a few years ago, there was a series called Uncanny Avengers, and it was essentially the idea of purposefully taking members of the X-Men and putting them with members of the Avengers and creating a squad that would help unify the world's view of mutants. It was really just an excuse to have a new team with some X-Men and Avengers mixed in. As you know, I love new teams. I love getting the band together type of stuff. So I'll be down for this for sure. But, I wouldn't say this is a high priority item unless you're really steeped into the X-Men universe. Here's the aforementioned Immortal Thor. Looks like they're going back to a traditional costume for him. Not sure how I feel about that, but we'll see. Got some solicit art. Here's the Venomverse stuff, Death of the Venomverse. It looks like it is a 5-issue miniseries that they are going to be putting out weekly, so you'll get all 5 issues. And it is written by Cullen Bunn and David Michelini. Vince talked about this a bit on the episode last week, if you want to know more. And we've also got a bunch of annuals this month. So generally speaking, annuals these days, if not forever, have been not as significant or well done. There have been standout annuals, don't get me wrong, but generally you can, even if you're an ardent reader of a given series, you can usually skip the annual with very little risk of missing out on anything too important. And I think that's the case here. You've got a couple of annuals, and they are all, as you can see, there's a header here, Contest of Chaos. It looks like it's a riff on the old Contest of Champions, which could be fun. It's involving Agatha Harkness and the Darkhold, so there's some dark magic elements to this one. Looks like we'll be getting some standalone annual issues where a character is facing off with another character. In this case, we've got Spider-Man versus Wolverine. You've got Storm versus Iron Man. Human Torch versus Ghost Rider. And Moon Knight versus Taiguchi, who is a relatively new character introduced a year or two back that I know very little about, I must admit. So I think he was in the Tiger Division miniseries. But there you have it. I will not be getting those. As we talked about the last 2 months, Ultimate Invasion, this is big doings. Even if you're not particularly a big Brian Hitch fan, certainly I think if you have any interest in Jonathan Hickman building a entirely new part of the Marvel lore, which I of course do, you need to jump into this. This is going to be setting the stage for what's to come. We now know, subsequent to the first few issues, we've seen press that Hickman has got big plans for a bunch of series that will expand out from this new Ultimate Universe, and I'm certainly excited for all of that. We've got Marvel Age, apparently, number 1000. It's a $10 anthology comic. I will pass. Here's this Fall of X. Let me just go forward a few pages to show you what I mean, because there's a bunch of titles, but we'll go back to them. I don't know why they put this in the middle instead of starting, but Fall of X is an event. It is going to chronicle, I presume, the downfall of the Hickman status quo, meaning Krakoa providing a haven for all mutants where everybody is getting along reasonably well and they're basically the dominant world power. I think there's just literally years of untapped stories that could have been told with that as the backdrop for the mutants. And if we're heading back to a scenario where the mutants are all persecuted and on the lam and are considered endangered, and I have very little time for that. It bores me to tears after 3 decades plus of reading these comics, that if we're going to go back to that status quo, could be very disappointed. Now, that being said, I don't know for sure that that's where we're going, so I'm going to hold out hope that I'm just being overly pessimistic, but I will tell you that it certainly feels that way, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school to say that what Hickman did with the X-Men the last few years was nothing short of revelatory, and the idea that we're going to slowly but surely retrench back to what it was before he took over is just very, very confounding. So we'll jump forward, though, and we'll talk about the individual books. We've got a Dark X-Men miniseries. Steve Fox, Jonas Scharf, relatively new creative team, at least when it comes to big Marvel books. We'll see. It could be good, could be bad. Don't really have a lot of an opinion on it. You can assume that I'm getting all the mutant books. I'm a glutton for punishment, and we'll certainly talk about the ones on the podcast or the Slack channel that I think are good. But I have no idea what to expect of this. So we'll just have to dive in with a bit of a leap of faith and see what's doing. Astonishing Iceman, hard pass there. It's a 5-issue miniseries, but it's written by Steve Orlando with art by Vincenzo Caruto, so that's an easy pass for me. Children of the Vault is one that I hope is good. I think the concept of the Children of the Vault is very, very neat. Don't have much an opinion on Dennis Camp, who is the writer, but I do like Luca Maresca, the artist, very much. And we've been seeing some Children of the Vault stuff throughout the Hickman era, and I think most of it's been well done. So I like the idea of giving them a 4-issue miniseries as the main antagonists. This, of course, is something that, if you know me, you know I was going to be at or near the top of my Marvel to-do list this month. First of all, the cover's great. It's the old OG team with some other members in the background, non-team members, but you can probably suss out who they are if you're good at your Hotmu entries. But this is written by Ed Brisson with art by Scott Godlewski, 2 creators I've enjoyed over the years at various times. And we've got most, if not all, of the original team back together for this 5-issue miniseries. Now, I selfishly always wish that we had an Alpha Flight ongoing series, but empirically, I understand that clearly there is not a market that supports that kind of series for very long, at least not without the right creative team and push. So I'm kind of I'm at the point where I am with, say, a character like Domino, where when I get something that focuses on them, I eat it up and enjoy it, even if I may be very much in the minority or a niche reader who's interested in it, but I take what I can get and I'm happy for it. And then when it goes away, I just wait for the next and am happily surprised when I see it again. So that's where we sit with Alpha Flight. I don't know if this is their soft attempt to bring them back to forefront, but I hope it's well received because I would love to see more Alpha Flight, obviously. We've got a Jean Grey miniseries. The cool thing here is it is written by Wheezy Simonson. I probably wouldn't be all that keen to buy this, except for the fact that it's by Wheezy. And Bernard Chang is a very good artist, and I don't know that we see him doing sequential superhero books that often anymore, at least I don't recall. So I'm definitely going to try this out. As I said, I'm not particularly feeling the need for a Jean Grey miniseries, but I like the creative team, and I would love to see Wheezy have a hit in her later stages of life. Realm of X is, could be cool. It's got Torrin Grunbeck, who's been getting a big push as one of the new It guys at Marvel, with Diogenes Neves on art. As you can see, this is a riff on the New Mutants, the classic New Mutants team. You've got Magic and Mirage on the cover, and they are in Vanaheim, the Asgardian realm, and doing battle along with a quirky team of Magic, Mirage, Marrow, Dust, and Typhoid Mary. So it could be fun. I like quirky teams, so I would say that is toward the higher end of the spectrum of all these new minis, Fall of X minis that have been announced that I'm interested in. X-Men 25, you've got Duggan continuing on this with Stefano Caselli. If you're wondering who that ninja is that's taking out the Secret Empire member, it is none other than Kitty Pryde, aka Shadow Cat, but with a K this time. So she's going full-on ninja, and I'm here for that. That excites me. Okay, we're going, for some reason, Invincible Iron Man is tying into Fall of X as well. As you can see from the header, he is a member of the Hellfire Club. He's the Black King, as it turns out. So we'll see. I haven't been particularly vibing on this Invincible Iron Man run, so I probably will not pick this up, and we'll just have to see what happens in it relative to the rest of the event. Two stalwarts of the Hickman era, the X-Men Red and the X-Force. These, to their credit, are both, at least on the writing side, are by the same creative teams as we've had, so Al Ewing and Ben Percy. Robert Gill's been doing X-Force art for a while now, since Josh Cassara moved on to X-Men proper. And Ildare Sinar has been taking over on X-Men Red. He's a very, very capable superhero artist. So good artists and very good writers. And I like for the most part, what's been happening in these books. And I see no reason why that will stop, at least until we get to the new status quo. And then Immortal X-Men, which, of course, continues to be one of the best books at Marvel, period, as long as Kieran Gillen and his art partners are continuing on the book. And here we've got Lucas Werneck. There's a rotating pair of artists here, but Lucas Werneck is on this one, and he's excellent. And, look, this is going to be one of the end caps of the Fall of X event. As you see here on the solicit, it says, "To me, my no one. Xavier had a dream, now he has nothing. This is the Fall of X. He fell furthest." So there you have it. Now, someone needs to explain to me why this exists. I get it. You have a book you're not ready to talk about yet because you don't want to spoil, and I get that. Okay, cool. Why put it in the solicit? You will send an email to your retailers and your press people. We're on the Marvel press list, as I'm sure others are that may be watching this. I get deluged with Marvel PR emails. When Marvel is ready to announce whatever the series is, they will send me an email, and they will send the retailers an email and say, "Hey, here's this new series that we had classified." So why put this in here? It does not make any sense to me. It is a waste of ink and paper. Got a Marvel Voices X-Men focused anthology. These have been well done. I'm definitely all for them because anything that increases representation is awesome. Admittedly, I'm not buying the issues per se because they are relatively expensive and they are anthologies, so they're tangential. But the few that I have read or picked up on the cheap, I think are very good. If you know me, you know that I love Marvel characters historically. There's very few I don't like, but Ghost Rider is one of them. Ghost Rider is like saltpeter to me. When I see Ghost Rider in a story prominently featured, I lose almost all interest regardless of who else is involved. And that is the case with this. This is written by Ben Percy with art by Jeff Shaw, who I think is incredible. Again, I'm just not vibing on this. I can't. And I'm also wondering if this was a book that maybe was intended for Donny Cates, because he and Jeff Shaw have been longtime collaborators, and generally when Jeff has worked on a Marvel book, it's been with Donny, and I wonder if Ben had to step in here or not, but I guess that shouldn't matter, but I was just thinking about it. We've got Ghost Rider here, also written by Ben Percy with Jeff Shaw. It's more a continuation of that last book, but I am just not interested. And it's continuing in Wolverine, which bums me out because I have been reading Wolverine. But yeah, this may be a good jumping off point for me for the Wolverine book as well. Got a Magneto 4-issue miniseries with J.M. DeMatteis writing it, with Todd Nauck on art. It's set in the past, in the days when he was running the New Mutants. This is one of those strange nostalgic throwback books that I'm not sure who it's intended for in the direct market, but Certainly, one might argue it's intended for people like me of that age who read these books of this era back off the shelves, but I still have no interest in this. Sometimes you can't go home again. Moving off of the X stuff into Captain America, this bums me out because it's the finale of the amazing Captain America run by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing with Carmen Carnero on art. It says Cap's Final Stand. I will be very sad to see the two Captain America books go. The other, of course, being the Sam Wilson book by Toki Onyebuki. But yeah, it's a bummer that these are wrapping up, but I'm going to just enjoy it and hope it ends well because it's been a great ride. No interest in this Ironheart miniseries. We've got some facsimile editions. Not sure who these are intended for. This is cool. I'm down for this. You know, this has been a year of Kyle Starks. I think he's in the running for Writer of the Year. He's on a roll. He's had a lot of really great books that in a couple different genres, and I think we've represented his work quite a lot on the podcast this year so far. So it's neat to see that he's here doing a Marvel miniseries. It's a 4-issue miniseries with Jesus Huervas on art called Marvel Unleashed. As you may recognize the characters, they're all animal characters from Marvel. They happen to be colloquially known, at least used to be known as the Pet Avengers. I have really fond memories of these characters because in the prior miniseries that involved them came out at a time when my kids were young enough that I was reading them bedtime stories, and we read the Pet Avengers stories quite a few times because they really liked it too. And so my nostalgia meter is off the charts with this, even though I recognize it is certainly not something that's geared towards a lot of people per se. But for me, this is something I'm pretty stoked about. You've got your Spider-Man section of the book. I'm not currently reading Amazing Spider-Man, so I can't speak to it. We've got 2 issues and an annual. We've got the Captain Marvel miniseries, Dark Tempest, written by Ann Nocenti. I am not getting that. We've got 2 other out-of-time miniseries, the X-Men Days of Future Past, Doomsday, and Storm. They are, again, not priorities for me, and I suspect not for you either. Blade, we were very excited about the first issue last month. Brian Hill writing, Elena Casagrande on art. This is certainly something I hope continues. I'm really excited for the series. We've got several what ifs, but they're what if dark, because that's what we needed. We needed a dark version of what if. But got what if Dark Venom, what if Dark Moon Knight, and I will be passing on both. What if, then we've got Moon Knight, City of the Dead, number 2 of 5. Again, a lot of these miniseries I'm passing on, not reading Moon Knight proper either, or Spider-Man, or Symbiote Spider-Man, or Red Goblin, or Cult of Carnage, or Venom, or Spider-Man India, or Silk. I am reading Miles Morales, which I wasn't in the last few months of solicits, but Dap talked about the series recently and convinced me to give it a try, and he was right. So kudos to Cody Ziegler and Federico Vincentini for crafting a pretty fun series so far. We've, I think, gotten through 6 or 7 issues, and we've got here the 9th solicited. Not reading PKJ's Incredible Hulk because PKJ hasn't done much for me in the stuff I've read of his yet. Not reading the Loki miniseries or the Groot or Warlock miniseries either. I am reading Guardians of the Galaxy, which has been, I would say, good, not great so far. But it is by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing with art by Kev Walker, who used to do an earlier incarnation of the Guardians. So, like I said, I'm enjoying it enough to keep going with it, but I wouldn't say it's blown me away. Black Panther, we've got the 3rd issue here of the Eve Ewing, Chris Allen reboot, but obviously this being issue number 3, we haven't gotten issue number 1 yet, but we will in a few weeks to see if it's worth being excited about. We've got the 4th issue of Avengers, which I am very excited for, McKay and Vila. Scarlet Witch, even though I'm not generally a Steve Orlando fan, so far so good on that. I've read 3 issues of the series and have enjoyed them. Hopefully that continues. FF number 10. This is a series I desperately need to get caught up on. I read the first issue. I thought it was good, not great. But I continue to buy it because it's FF, and now we're up to issue 10. So I really need to dive in here and see what the deal is and if I should continue. A hard pass on both of these. Not reading Daredevil either. Not reading Deadpool. Certainly not reading Deadpool Bad or Blood. Doctor Strange, another Jed McKay book with Juan Gedeon, has been, the few issues we've gotten so far have been good. So continuing apace with that. We've got a Strange Academy one-shot. This is odd. It's a one-shot, first of all. It is written by Carlos Hernandez with art by Juan Cabal, so it's not Scotty and Alberto Ramos. So I really am left to wonder, like, what the point of this was. I haven't talked to Scotty about this. I'm wondering if they asked him to do it and he just didn't have the time. But it's strange. You know, to me, Strange Academy was wrapped up. It was entirely Scotty and Umberto, and that's how it should have stayed. So not much interest in this. We've got if you notice, the 20th Century Studios logo, which is the new thing now for these licensed books that Marvel's doing. We've got Planet of the Apes and Alien. I wouldn't say I'm a particular fan of either of these IP in comic form, but in both cases, with Planet of the Apes being written by David Walker with art by Dave Wachter, and then in Alien's case with writing by Declan Shalvey with art by Andrea Ricardo, friends of the show. So I will support these books, at least for their first arcs. Not reading any Star Wars Marvel comics at present, so there are a bunch, but I can't speak to them good or bad for you, so you'll have to solicit the opinions of others who are reading them. Okay, and then we're in the collected editions. No, I don't see any need for Judgment Day as an omniboo. Fine event, I guess, but certainly nothing earth-shattering. No pun intended. And I will not be picking this up. Same goes for Devil's Reign. I thought the beginning of Devil's Reign was excellent, like right up there with best modern Daredevil stuff, but I think it quickly fell into mediocrity and then actually descended into not very good as it went on. So I thought really diminishing marginal returns issue to issue, and will not be picking this up. Certainly have no interest in the Clone Saga new printing. As you know, I have bought most Marvel Omniboo over the years, and generally when there's a reprint in here, I tell you, oh, I own the original, but you can get the reprint. In this case, I did not even buy the original, so I'm certainly not going to buy the reprint. Same here for the Ben Reilly Omniboo. The Wade Somni Daredevil Omniboo, this is volume 2. This is a reprint. This is worth your time. I have the original and think it's excellent. Hard pass on the Slott Fantastic Four Omniboo, volume 4. Spider-Man Chip Zdarsky is another easy pass for me, as is X-Men The Hidden Years. Now here's one that I will be getting, New Mutants, volume 3. Got a beautiful Brett Blevins cover, and this continues the original run. This is 55 through 85. Spellbound, Power Pack, Uncanny X-Men, Exterminators issues of that same time period, and Marvel Comics Presents, Marvel Fanfare. Really, really good stuff. Fun stuff. I think the original New Mutants run was pretty much worth reading from beginning to end, even through the different creative teams and ideas that were in it. And then we got the Masterworks, which aren't my speed at all, and the trades, which I don't really get up on, so I'm going to fast forward through those very quickly. And we've got Darth Vader, Black, White, and Red, which I know some people said a lot of good things about. And more trades, and more trades, hold on. Epic Collections. Very affordable way to read big chunks of story if you're into that. And wow, there's a lot of Epic Collections again. Okay, hold on. And there you have it. That is the Marvel month. Like I said, not a ton that I'm like completely blown away by, but I would point out that the X-Men stuff has been must-read for me, but I am worried about what this Fall of X is going to be. So hopefully I'm wrong, and it's just another great chapter in what's been a very halcyon time for mutant books. Pretty stoked for the direction the Avengers is taking. The rest of the stuff is relatively mid from my perspective, to an easy avoid, particularly all of the Spider-Man / Venom / Symbiote stuff that's been going on. So there you have it. I hope you found something of value from this little chat, and let me know if you think there's anything I'm sleeping on that I need to give an honest try to. All right, now we'll be back in a minute with the DC Connect.